Well, from the pages of MikeHuckabee.com, an autonomous zone for free thinkers, and my free email newsletter delivered twice daily, let's look at another look back at the week that was. Well, in a story rich with irony from the left coast, anarchist, communist, Antifa types have illegally taken over 6 city blocks in the city of Seattle. They call their new backyard fort an autonomous zone, complete with its own armed police force. But the irony doesn't stop there. They built a wall around their commune, proving, of course, that walls do work, unlike the communists who don't work. Now, the point of an autonomous zone is presumably to be autonomous or self-sufficient, but they ran out of food within 48 hours. A tweet sent by one of the organizers said, quote, "The homeless people we invited took away all our food. We need more to keep the area operational. Please, if possible, bring vegan meat substitutes, fruits, oats, soy products, anything to help us eat." Hey, you can have all my vegan products, fine. I'll take your ribeyes every day. Of course, we're going to find out how Lord of the Fleas plays out in the days to come. And while Seattle streets and their communist inhabitants are in need of a good scrub, a cultural scrubbing is taking place all around us. Gone with the Wind is one of the latest victims of the woke mob. The streaming service HBO Max has pulled the classic film until they can add a discussion of its historical context and a denouncement of its sympathetic depiction of the Old South. I guess this is for viewers who need a reminder that A, the movie was made in 1939 and based on a book by a Southerner. B, Scarlett O'Hara was personally biased toward the South. And C, slavery was bad. Ironically, the film is notable in one other way. One of its stars, Hattie McDaniel, holds the distinction of being the first African-American ever to win an Oscar. She was born 125 years ago this week. I wonder what she would think of the progress we have and haven't made as a nation. Keith Bilbrey has some really good questions and some really bad questions in just a moment. I'm going to let you decide which is which. But first, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I hope you'll consider doing that and hitting the notification bell as well. Trust me, it's for your own good. Okay, Keith, why don't we see what we've got from the My 2 Cents at TBN.TV mailbox?
Okay, here we go. Robert in New Hampton, New Hampshire asks, Mr. Huckabee, I cannot understand why you minimize the importance of President Trump's personal conduct as President of the United States. Do the ends justify the means? The president is mean, not presidential. Many times not true in what he says. Name-calling, smearing the name of others. Would you have kept silent if President Obama acted likewise? Mark my words, the president is destroying the integrity of the Republican Party.
Well, I can see when it comes to the presidential election, I'm going to mark you down as undecided, but leaning maybe the other way. Look, here's the fact. I've said it many times, and I'm going to say it again. President Trump can come across as a bit abrasive. He is a classic street fighter from New York. And he sometimes talks more like he's on the construction site that he spent most of his adult life doing than he's in the Oval Office. But I also want to say to you, I wish he was more genteel. I honestly sometimes cringe at some of the things he tweets or says. But no president in my life, not one, and I go back to Eisenhower, has ever done as many things that I personally find helpful to this country's future. Never been a more pro-life president, ever, ever. Never have we had a president that more protected America against the globalist who would really love us to surrender to China and to other countries in unfair trade agreements and surrendering our economy to them. Never have we had a president who's done more to deregulate government out of private business so business owners who are struggling to make it can actually have a business, give people jobs, and prosper and make America a wonderful country. When it comes to things that truly matter to me, like Israel, no president has been more supportive of the nation of Israel. That's, for me, not just a political issue, but a biblical one. I could go through a long list, but I understand where you're coming from. But your choice is somebody who believes we shouldn't have borders, we ought to raise taxes, we ought to regulate and have more government, more statism, more control of the government in all of our lives, open up and have more abortions rather than fewer, and somehow turn our backs on the one real ally we have in the Middle East. Now, if that's your program, I agree. Forget Trump's personality. It's the policies you've really got a problem with. Keith, who else we got to hear from?
Well, Richard in Los Angeles writes, Dear Governor, for the past 2 weeks, hundreds of thousands of people have not used social distancing, and many didn't wear masks. Why then are we still not able to go to a restaurant or to work? This is ridiculous.
I actually agree with you. You know, I think what we've seen is that the cure to COVID-19, the Wuhan virus, is a riot. Because when you have a riot or go through a city and burn it down and loot, it doesn't appear that it matters how close people are, whether they're wearing masks or practicing social distancing. A lot of mayors have even said that, and in fact, not only mayors, health officials have said that the protests were so important that it was worth the risk. Well, you know what? If you own a business, especially if it's a restaurant or maybe a hair salon, my guess is you think your business is pretty doggone important too. I think we've been maybe had on a lot of this stuff. And while I agree it's serious and we ought to take precautions and wear a mask when we're told and when it's appropriate and practice social distancing and maybe not hug strangers and shake hands with everybody we see, we got to start living again. And if the protesters and the looters and the rioters, if they're free to congregate without social distancing, then I think it's going to be a little hard to say that it's okay to riot, but not go to church. Maybe if we got back to church, we wouldn't have so many riots. What else, Keith?
Well, Dennis at yahoo.com sends congratulations. Just wanted to thank the Huck for his savvy explanation of President Trump's public persona. I don't know if it was the football player analogies, we're big LSU fans, or what. But it finally got my sister to see the light and realize one must go beyond Trump's bluster and judge him by his many accomplishments. Evidently, he spoke in a language my sister understands, and for that, I sincerely thank him.
Well, thank you very much, and maybe we need to get you and my answer that I had given to the gentleman who wasn't so happy with what I had said to you that made sense to your sister. I have a feeling the other guy, it's not about what I said, it's he just doesn't like Trump. And if Trump came out and surrendered to everybody on the left, got down on one knee and apologized, probably still wouldn't like him. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. Even if you're an LSU fan, and believe me, as a Razorback, it's hard to love an LSU fan, but I do. All right, what else we have, Keith?
Well, I like this guy's name. Keith in Grand Blanc, Michigan, wants to support good police. Been a cop for 39 years while working, being shot at or threatened weapons to kill me. The public is placing good cops with bad cops into one group. It needs to stop.
Keith, I agree with the writer who is also named Keith. And look, overwhelmingly, cops in this country are dedicated public servants who risk their lives, and every day they leave and go to work, they put their lives between chaos and the rest of us living a peaceable life. When there's a bad cop, it's terrible. What happened in Minneapolis with the bad cop was beyond awful. But I don't know of anyone who defends that guy. Every one of us wants him to be prosecuted, which he will be. But to get angry at all policemen is to be angry at law itself. It's dangerous. It's not just crazy, it's dangerous to us all. So Keith, I want to say thanks for your 39 years of providing the thin blue line between chaos, anarchy, and law and order. Personally, I vote for law and order. And by the way, here's a stat some of you may not know. There's a greater likelihood that you will die from being scalded from water than you will being killed by a dirty cop if you're a black person. I know it doesn't sound like that in today's environment. These are horrible things, and one is one too many. but it is not as prevalent. It's not like it is happening to tens of thousands of people every single week. Let's get rid of the bad cops, but let's not be angry at the good ones. Lord knows we need them. All right, who else do we hear from?
Well, Pat from Sun City, Arizona wants to be clear. I support anyone's right to peacefully gather, protest their cause, but peaceful protesters don't burn communities, small and large businesses in any community, let alone their own. They don't injure innocent people, to say nothing about the abuse they present to law enforcement as a whole. This isn't peaceful protesting. This is terrorism and anarchy. And our politicians need to acknowledge the difference between peaceful protesters and criminals.
I've only got one word to say to you. Amen. What else can I say? You said it beautifully. We may employ you as a writer for our show. Absolutely great. Thanks for your questions. We hope we'll hear from you. Be sure to send them to my2cents@tbn.tv. Now, from the Twitterverse, where you can follow me at Mike Huckabee, we get this. While many on Washington's left side of the aisle jump on the defund the police bandwagon, it appears they're not turning down our returning campaign cash from law enforcement. Watchdog group Open Secrets revealed that there are current elected Democrats who have received more campaign donations from police groups since 1994 than any other current members by a significant margin. Go ahead and gasp right now. For example, Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat of Vermont, and Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota, along with Representative Bill Pascrell of New Jersey and House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer of Maryland, are some of the culprits. I wonder, will they return the funds? We're going to keep an eye out for the updates. Well, after a week of lily-livered Republicans who said they could find no way in their conscience or heart to vote for the president this fall, there was a brave member of the Bush family who stepped up and said he would do so again. Texas Land Commissioner George P. Bush, he's the son of former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, made clear he's going to vote for President Trump in the 2020 election. Commissioner Bush stated, quote, "Trump is the only thing standing between America and socialism." He went on to say, "It's clear America and Texas will continue to be stronger than ever." And as if the Twitterverse weren't crazy enough, Warner Brothers Worldwide reports that they're going to take Elmer Fudd's shotgun away from him in the next cartoon. I mean, who knew the Second Amendment would fall thanks to Bugs Bunny's bosses? What's up, Doc? Apparently, I'll tell you what's up. Going to be your hands when the liberals come to take away your Second Amendment rights. Finally tonight, with all the crazy looting and rioting that's taken place over too many days, I want to remind everyone what a great hero to the civil rights movement and progressives everywhere once said. He was the first African-American judge who was appointed to the Supreme Court. And Justice Thurgood Marshall reminded Americans that lawlessness is lawlessness. Anarchy is anarchy is anarchy. Neither race nor color nor frustration is an excuse for either lawlessness or anarchy. Wise, wise words. May we all honor Justice Marshall's words and learn new ways to love our neighbors as ourselves and experience the peace that we so desperately need that can come only through Jesus Christ. Well, until next time, these have been the facts of the matter.
Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to leave a like, then subscribe, and hit the notification bell below. Now, if you didn't like it, you ought to find a Ben Shapiro video to detox you with more facts.